example, gold. We started the original account challenge March 28th. And then right now we're back exactly June 1st where it broke out March 28th and it didn't make any sense. But that's why it's just like I didn't understand what we were waiting on because it's like we don't have anybody in office that we could, how do you say, what did they call it? I forgot. But I don't have anyone to put me in on what the market is doing to tell me the secrets so that I'm in the loop. So it's just like at the same time, if I see that the market is doing this and we're exactly where we were March 28th, it's almost like the market got a redo and what's it called? And an extension to that, we have a descending wedge, and then this is the fundamental event that actually just started. So after the dot-com boom, options, they had put this PDT rule. So it's like a pattern day trader rule. And I started in the options market, but options, futures, Forex, and the crypto market, all of the markets are combined together. That's what the part that people are missing. Like when people trade Dow and NASDAQ and Forex on the options platform or on the futures platform and the Forex platform, they think that they're trading different markets and different asset classes, and we're all trading the same volume. So check this out. On the option side, they got rid of that PDT rule, the pattern day trader rule. So it's basically like, you know how we can have an unlimited amount of trades throughout the Forex market and the crypto market, but we're trading the more unregulated market size. In addition to that, we are using offshore brokers. The PDT rule was only something that affected US brokers. And that was, what was that? That was like right after the dot-com boom that they started implementing that. You know what they're doing? They're getting rid of that June 4th, June 4th. And that's what I was talking about. The blessing is the timing because I would have never guessed in 25, 30 years that they would have took that pattern day trading rule off for the options traders. Now, with trading Forex and crypto, we've never had to worry about that. We've always been able to trade an unlimited amount of times. But what does that mean for us? It means that it's bringing more, I guess more individuals into the market, if that makes sense, because it's like with the pattern day trading rule, you with them, we could do it with small accounts, big accounts. We've never had to worry about restrictions on our accounts for as many times as we open and close positions, but they did. So in order for them to get past that PDT rule, they had to have a minimum of 25K in the account. Now, with that restriction being gone June 4th, that's what's going to bring the new investors in the market. So I would say that's similar to like a stock split event when Tesla and Facebook and Walmart, when all the companies are doing stock splits, is really just to get new investors in the market, if that makes sense. So that's the fundamental event the market is waiting on. And that's why I'm like, I'm not losing my fucking mind. So it's just a matter of this was a very important season for everybody to see me in because everyone gets to watch how I handle things. Because it's like I don't trade options actively right now, but it's like I don't teach options, but I know options because that's where I started. I started teaching options way before I was even in the Forex markets and teaching it on that side. I just got my success from the Forex markets because I didn't agree. Well, I just didn't like that. Okay, so you know how we can close and enter positions whenever we want. I couldn't do that on the option side because if like say if I had a position that was up, one of them that I was trading back in the day, what was it? It was kind of like a little tiny one. I think it was UTA or something like that. It was like what was it? UGA? I forgot what it was, but it was something little, kind of like a forex pair compared to the Dow. So something I was able to manipulate, but it doesn't work like that on the option side because if I bought something and I was in profit and I tried to close it, I needed somebody to basically buy that from me in order for me to close. But if someone didn't see value in that company, then ultimately I had a couple positions like go to zero because no, I couldn't get out of the position. So that's still a thing with options, but the PDT rule is big because instead of needing 25K account to trade unlimitedly, they could trade unlimited now with a small account. So yeah, that's pretty awesome because people don't realize all of the brokers and all of the markets are connected to one another. And as you can see, this is gold, for example. This is just gold. But even the dollar overall, the dollar is just now starting to break out. And that's crazy because it's like we've been in the dollar since like over here. And that's the one part of the we never know when. And I'm actually glad I extended the challenge because that, bro, I would have been pissed if my challenge ended June 1st and then I found out for June 4th that that PDT rule is going. So I'm just like, damn, time really is a blessing. So it's just like this summer, I feel it's going to be a lot better than what the rest of the last few weeks to months have been. For the last 60 days have been basically because what was this? This is May. This is April, and then this over here. Do 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 do. Let's just say this is like, yeah. So this is a high for the dollar. This is a lower high for the dollar. And then from here, the dollar starts to break down. And the dollar, this is the third high. This is the second high. Two makes a trend, three is confirmation. It's really all about staying disciplined in the way that you trade. And then since we're starting with the small accounts, even though they didn't take off, because I was just like, I had loaded one more small account like Thursday, the 9th, going into the 10th for Friday. And I had basically blew that account too on Bitcoin right there for the $100 account because I'm just like, why is it not going? Because the setups is there, but we're just missing the fundamental event, and that's the fundamental event that's gonna get everything going. But guess what? The market, oh, insider trading. The market already knows what it's gonna do. It's kind of like it's kind of like when I think it doesn't matter who's going to be in office because the market has already decided what it's going to do long before the people get there, if that makes sense. If I understand that the dollar is constantly getting inflated over a long period of time, and we all know that assets are constantly buying over a long period of time, only thing that matters now is figuring out where am I in the market? And if I understand on the weekly chart, on the daily chart, on the 4 hour chart, where we are in the market is going to be, I mean, we're at highs for the dollar. Therefore, everything else got to be at lows. The only thing that really took off without it is going to be US 30, SPX 500, and NASDAQ. Then it's just like everything else is a matter of patience and waiting, which that was one thing I can say. I realized last year I was trading crypto a lot. But the Forex market just been stalling, but it's not even just stalling. Like when we entered last week, our entries were over here on what March, oh wait, May 18th. And then we got an impulse to the upside. And then we got a retest to the downside. And then technically these 3 days is consolidation. But then we break out. And then we retest again. And then we impulse to the upside. And then we retest to the downside. But then you drop it down to the 4 hour chart and you see this retest is a very extended retest. But it's a matter of understanding the rules of the market, but emotionally, it's almost like I'm training everybody emotionally because I don't feel nothing. Sometimes I might say, dumb bitch, like into the market because what the fuck is going on? But at the same time, the setups is there, the market rules is there. It's really the timing of the market and the market conditions we're in. But that PDT rule is huge. That is very huge because that has not been gone. They implemented that after the dot-com boom to try to regulate. But then it's like think about it now also on the FX market, the crypto market, because we deal with a lot of unregulated brokers. People don't talk about options and futures got unregulated brokers too. They just the offshore brokers. They're going to be in the Bahamas. They're going to be in Europe because that's the only way that they could get past that PDT rule. But they haven't been in the market as long as I've been in the market. So one, they not figuring out the rules of an uptrend. It's higher highs and higher lows. That's exactly what GBP USD is giving us. But higher highs and higher lows does not just implement for Forex, it implements for all markets. This isn't, I mean, this is making higher highs and higher lows. This is also making higher highs and higher lows. This is making higher highs and higher lows. It's just a matter of being in it at the right time. So if we get chopped up in here and it comes down, starting with a small account is an advantage because it's like we only have so much to lose. But now with that rule coming out, I'm like, finally, we got some gas to this bullshit. Because it's like we haven't broke out, we're just now breaking out. So that's the one thing is understand the rules, understand where you are in the market. I gotta do some of these charts, so we'll mark up some of these charts together because I gotta finish it up for the course anyway. But that's important to have like I don't know, it's like a one track mind because it's like people see me failing and then they're like, oh, I don't want to fail like that. I don't want to fail as much. But I started trading in 2019. I've never had a year like this. So then it's almost to me just like I've never traded like a COVID before. COVID was the first time of me trading COVID, but that was also my first year profitable because I had got rich in 2019. So it's like I have to take the approach that I've always taken and I follow the rules that I've always followed because that's how I got to the success. So the success is in the process, if that makes sense. And then, but I mean, and that's exactly why it's almost like basketball players, like they don't win a championship and they go in the gym. And that's why I've been up a lot of all-nighters is because I've been in the gym because I'm like, okay, well, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for the market to situate, I got this side, I mean, I showed you already, this side of the course. What I did last night is I added a scanner so that I feel like when I share my charts a lot in the group, it stops people from looking at their own charts. So what I did was I added a scanner because to me it's always between say the higher time frames and lower time frames and the best time frames to match up is going to be the direction the market wants to go, right? So I added a scanner to the website so that instead of sharing the charts, you guys could kind of go to the scanner and I update the scanner every single week. If that makes sense, because the charts could go to YouTube and I could talk about it and walk it through. But then you
Hmm.
guys have access to the scanner on the site and then it'll show my week. I mean, yeah, it is a weekly bias because I'll update it every Sunday. So between different time frames, it'll tell you if that pair, if I feel like it's majority bullish or majority bearish. And there's even a side of it to where it'll say it's a mixed market. Like if we got say the daily chart and the weekly chart both showing me that they haven't broken out yet, and I'm waiting for somebody to break, or the forward chart, I'm waiting for somebody to break, then it's a matter of stay off of this one because this one hasn't broken out yet. But we're way past that. We've already been executing. I think, if nothing else, the last 60 days, because we sure ain't flipped no accounts, it's going to be, we've gained, I mean, you guys have gained my patience because I don't feel anything towards this market. If that makes sense, because I literally know that I don't know, like I don't touch the trades. So the way that you guys have seen me trade lately is exactly how I trade. So then when the big accounts come from the small accounts, I promise you I'd be just as surprised because the market will literally run itself. But at the same time, we've been in consolidation, like USD CAD. I thought was gonna sell way down here like 2, 3 weeks ago. Remember down here? But then it's like extension, extension, extension. And the one area that we were missing was the insider trading knowledge. And I mean, we wouldn't have known that until they announced it, and they're just now announcing it. If that makes sense. So then we still got to understand the rules of an uptrend, the rules of a downtrend. In this case, the daily chart just now flipped on Thursday, Friday. So if the daily chart is flipping Thursday, Friday, going into USD CAD, it's like, okay, we got stopped out here. USD CAD was giving me a run for my money. I think that's actually what blew most of my account. But I see what it's doing. If I can't change the way that I trade. So it's like there's going to be time periods to where the it's not as hard to make money in the market because now the market has chosen a direction. But I've always been honest of I cannot trade in chop. And if the market give me a chop and I'm good at anticipating the future, but I can't make the market do something, then it's always going back to my foundation. What is my foundation in this market? I've been trading the same way since 2019. I've created 7 millionaires. I've created multiple thousandaires, and they're all able to turn small accounts into big accounts. And this is the one season, one period to where I'm like, man, why am I getting chopped up like this? This is so fucking odd. And now, like, oh, they're getting rid of that day trading rule. That's insane because that's exactly why I stopped trading options because you could only trade so much and they put a restriction on your account. And that was half of my issue with Merrill Lynch last year. If I wasn't trading options, I have a way that I approach each market because with stock investing, it's exactly the same as NASDAQ, SPX, and US 30. We're dealing with the stock market, but we understand that assets go up for over a long period of time and over a short period of time. The most it can go down is 18 months, 24 months. The Great Depression was 65 months. So we understand the rules, but it's a matter of training your emotional intelligence. And if nothing else, that's exactly what we did the last few months, train everyone's emotional intelligence. Because once this market starts going, they're not going to be able to keep up because they wasn't paying attention all this time and they didn't have their head down. And this was the best time to learn, if that makes sense. But it's like,
Hmm.
okay, we're already getting rules of a downtrend for USD CAD. Looking at it on a 4 hour chart, oh my God, is that a mini downtrend signal? Dude, dude, dude. But it's just like, why can't this do this with us in it? Now it's gonna do it with us in it because the fundamentals is there. It's going to push USD CAD down. So my area of reference is we got a 750 pip drop because USD CAD really needs to be at 130, if that makes sense. You got any questions so far? 130.
No, no question. Sorry, I had to
Okay.
unmute button.
No, you good, you good. I was like, hello. We locked that. So this is 130, and the last time we were at 130 was well shit, when the market broke out. So 2022, I was in real estate as well, and I'm buying houses. So 2020, yeah, 2020 going into 2021, those were really good years because I had did a 700 to 750K in November 2020 going into May of 2021. But that was on the crypto side. And then 2022, that summer of 2021 going into 2022 is what led into the bear market, if that makes sense. So that makes sense because we see the dollar popping out. But then it's like, why has it taken 3 years to recover where we broke out from in 2022? So it's just like there's a lot of things that we don't know, but it's like if we keep our mindsets aligned on what the rules of the market is and how we it's not even a strategy, it's just the way that the market works. We're real time just understanding like what the market is doing. And if the dollar is giving me sales setups, the dollar is giving me ascending wedges. I understand people's how do you say, like, I understand why it's appetizing to them to want to buy and sell, but even the buying and selling traders, they're not turning accounts that big that fast. And at the same time, day traders are decent. The scalpers, they're gonna make money sometimes, but they're not gonna make money all the time. But then we look at it on the monthly chart. We got May, April, March, February, and January. Technically, since January, we really ain't done nothing. Technically, since December, we really ain't done nothing because November, when I came back initially, that's when the high of the breakout was for USD CAD. And then that same high breakout for USD CAD, we retested that same high, the bottom side of it, in April. So they're doing these extended retests, and it doesn't make any sense, but it does make sense as well because now I see, I mean, it's obviously easy to see it hindsight 2020, but it's not hindsight 2020 because we're real time actually in this. The bias hasn't changed. The only thing that we are doing is it requires us to be a whole lot more patient, but it's even better because these are small accounts. If this was bigger accounts, I like that's where I feel like that's the blessing too. If this was bigger accounts, I probably would have been losing my shit because it's just like, well, why is it that the market is doing this? Because it's easy to get to 5,000, 3,000 when the market is ready, 10,000 when the market is ready from a small account. But if the market not ready, just like I blew that $100 account, well, yours and mine, last week, like a $14 account lasted 2 weeks. My $100 account lasted one day. Your $100 account lasted what, a week and a half, 2 weeks? Why did I
Hmm.
blow my 100 account in one day? Because I'm just like Bitcoin, choosing crypto, and Bitcoin is similar to US 30. It's an indice. And then even in the stock market, they're trading indices, but Bitcoin has become part of the stock market. Ethereum has become part of the stock market. All of these markets are related. And now option side, the one that had that PDT rule, they're gonna get rid of that rule to entice new investors to come in. And this is another thing too. People are not understanding how the broker makes money. The brokers make money every single time someone is pulling the trigger. So every time someone opens a position or closes a position, the broker gonna get their little fee. So really, the brokers bring in millions of dollars every single day. But at some point, people gotta realize they're not gonna always want to pay their broker. And then because shit, I feel like if people can't keep up with me and I'm leading the way and I'm taking L's too, I'm taking L's in front of the whole world. That's what people don't understand. This shit is embarrassing. But it makes sense and it needed to be seen because people need to see it. It's gonna save me so much heartache in the future of like, hey guys, remember I got blown out in 2026 because guess what? What did this happen again? This happened in, was it? Oh, it happened in 2021 also, starting with it was in February all the way to like July. And then that July, I did a $2 million trade in 2 days on Ethereum. But in February, NASDAQ and US 30 was beating me up and it didn't make sense. But they were uncorrelated at that point in time. right now, 2026, we see the correlation going, but that's not what I was dealing with in 2021. Now, say in 2030, I'm gonna be like, remember in 2026 when I just got blowing my small accounts for no reason, and then they got rid of that PDT rule, and now I'm back on top. That shit is crazy. So I'm excited. Um, I don't know. I feel like I wish I don't know. It's easy to want something to have happened before, but timing is everything and timing is always going to be the blessing. So I always got to go back to it. So it's just a matter of what do I do in the timing while I wait, if that makes sense. Like we see the drop off from Bitcoin here starting 2023, it rose and it broke this trend line 2025, but we're not looking for a reason to sell. So it's like, okay, so say if I'm losing weight, which I mean I am, but this is how I trick myself. I'm harder on myself than I ever am on anyone else because I'm the one that needs to do the work. Only my life is gonna change if whether or not I'm lose the weight or not. So if I know back in the day I used to drink Coca-Cola, Sprite, soda, and now I know I still like Coca-Cola, Sprite, soda, I'm just not gonna buy it because if it's in the house and then I have a moment of weakness of I'm thirsty and there's a cold soda in the fridge, I'm gonna drink it naturally. It's Texas, it's hot. Same thing in the market though. I understand there's an opportunity to buy and there's an opportunity to sell, but there's all these time frames to choose from. In addition to that, you gotta hope that the market, because it's like the market sometimes is just gonna go, if that makes sense. Once the market has decided a side, that's the direction it's gonna go. And even us surviving the chop for the last couple weeks to months, we quite literally, I mean, we're still here, and it makes even more sense because we started out looking at gold. So, just like in my diet, I'm not gonna buy the soda to entice myself. I don't need to look at the ascending wedges when I'm looking for a reason to buy assets, especially since it took the dollar all this time to change itself up, if that makes sense. So, if the dollar just now breaking, and it's already showing me two makes a trend, three is confirmation, then and your assets such as Bitcoin before these 3 weeks even appeared, we already knew Bitcoin on the weekly chart, monthly chart was giving us a second low. If that makes sense, a higher low. We understand that we're looking at, let me see, this low. Did this low ever return? 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 No. I didn't have patience over here for sure in 2018. This was crazy, but I wasn't a millionaire yet. I didn't have patience over here in 2020, and I was a millionaire back then. I didn't have patience over here. I didn't have patience over here. I didn't have patience over here. So I'm intraday trading my way to the top, but I wasn't making as much profits in as little amount of time as I am right now because people don't understand this market will outwork us. This market is going to be awake the whole time. So it's just a matter of if you have a busy life like me, and I know you do, then it's going to be good because we have trained to get our mind off of the market. We have learned to set the trade and then forget all about it because right now it's just been bad. We set it, we forget it, now the account is gone. But eventually it's not going to be like that no more. We're going to set it, forget it, and then boom, oh my God, it's a bands. It's a hundreds of dollars. It's even more bands. And that's exactly how I trade because I'm not always in front of the market. I have dogs, I have my kid, I cook, I clean, and I don't even drink anymore. But I don't know. People have this way of thinking about trading, but it still comes back down to the basics and how do they understand the basics? And then outside of the basics, what is your emotional temperament from that? You got a question?
No.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so on the weekly chart and monthly chart, we see that the market is making a higher low. The higher time frames got to set up just like the lower time frames, but just like we said, it's been ready since like March. I would say like end of March. So March, and then we got a breakout. So that's it. The weekly, monthly is the same to me. Going into the daily chart chopping like last week, we gotta. I thought it was gonna break out here, so let's go into the 4 hour chart. I still implement the same way. If every low is going to give me a reason to buy, I'm going to buy the assets because assets over a long period of time go up. But now it's a matter of when is it going to do it? The only thing we don't know as traders is the timing. So if we don't understand the timing, that means we need to have time in the market and be able to time it. But lately, you guys have seen me have time in the market because timing it. I mean, we can't time it because we can and we can't because it's like the break of a trend line, the break of a zone is going to be timing it. And we understand the lower time frames is going to be our entry time frames, and the higher time frames, and these two time frames here are going to be your setup time frames. But I'm still gonna execute based off of how I have been. A breaker structure, we give me a low. The only thing is I'm thinking it's gonna hold this level of demand over here, and it didn't. But then it comes down. If I know that I'm used to buying at a low point and it comes down to here, I'm like, that don't make no sense. But the distance from here to here isn't as severe of someone buying wrong because they bought here. I'm not a person that buys right here. I really be trying to buy here and I buy here. But if we buy here again going into the end of the week like we did and the account still blow, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I actually thought this account was gonna go on like probably Thursday, Friday, because one of these weeks, I think it was this one right here. I'm like, this is crazy. Why would you come back down there? And then I checked again and the account was still there. It took a few positions, but it was still there. But it's still impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, and takeoff. But now it's like an extension of it coming down, but it coming down is nothing. So if I'm not gonna buy the soda, I'm not gonna give myself a reason to sell the assets because I understand what the dollar is doing. Weekly chart is showing me a higher low. Daily chart is in consolidation, but it has broken out already. But if nothing else, this 4 hour chart is also making higher highs and higher lows because every one of these candlesticks is going to be a low point, a low point, a high point, a low point. But if you look at every low by itself, every low is getting higher every time. It's just a matter of if we look at the bigger picture of this consolidation on the 4 hour chart, it still is consolidation because it's really within this one candle that we're still in and it doesn't make any sense. Some people be like, well, why are we adding positions if we are in consolidation? I don't know. We're in consolidation until we're in consolidation, and I still have to trade the same way. I still have to it's not full throttle, it's just $100 account, but I have to trade with the same capacity as I do, the same confidence as I do, as if I'm in a market that I'm not being chopped up in, if that makes sense, because I already have the results. So I guess you could say the confidence comes from the results that I have. But it's like I've been in the market for almost a decade, and it's like it's one thing to make success for myself, but when the success is repeatable to others, we always got to go back to what is really going on here, if that makes sense. So now it's like we have that pattern day trader rule in mind. That's good. Fundamentally, I don't look at fundamentals like that because it's not necessary. It's nothing more than the gas. In addition to that, I don't have anyone in the government that's going to include me in the insider trading. But everything that's going to happen in this market was always going to happen. We just never know the timing of it. So it's important for us to be able to wait in this market. And you know how I said in 2018, 19, shit, even a little bit 2017, GBP and a lot of the FX pairs were moving like 400 or 500 pips a night, so on and so forth. We haven't had anything like that in years, but at the same time it's like a matter of why and when. We don't know why most of the time in the market, and we don't know when, but you got to be okay with not knowing why, because knowing why makes sense after the profits. It always makes sense to me after the profits, but now I can anticipate the win if I understand that, hey, a $14 account lasted for 2 weeks. But it's like, okay, so I'm thinking the $14 account is good. It lasted for 2 weeks. The market is almost ready. I load another 100 and the market slapped me in the face. Like, we're not fucking ready yet. I'm like, all right, you didn't have to do that. So, so I don't know. I mean, I'm always excited though. My excitement doesn't change because it's like people don't understand. Like, I don't have a job. Like, this is what I do. I've always done this. I've done this since 2019. That was the last job I ever had, and nothing's gonna change because, like, on top of understanding day trading, it's like the assets in the stock market. Like, I'm invested heavily in really just tech for the most part, but crypto to me is tech. But I have a lot of Tesla. Let me see. Let me bring Tesla up so we can see it. So Tesla on the stock market is the same as NASDAQ to me, if that makes sense. Except Tesla is not going to have as much volatility as NASDAQ, but here it is. Oh yeah, so this is, I mean, shit, I haven't looked at this chart in forever. So still major highs and major halves. In this case, we're retesting above 400. I haven't touched this chart in years. So the last time it was at 400 was what? 21, 20, 24. But if I was showing a stock chart, it has to be in 2021. So 2021, I'm notating 400. I'm thinking it's gonna go to five. It don't go to five for a couple years. Shit, it just went to five. What is that? 2026? Oh no, it's 2025. But then it's like if we understand we're at 435 here and the market's higher highs and higher lows, then we should take out 500. But keep in mind, I've been in the market for a long time, not just the Forex market, but all markets, the stock market. When I was buying stocks originally in 2016, this was at like 300 and something dollars. I remember I only had one share, but then I didn't have enough active income because I was working a job in 2016 to hold my share in Tesla. So it's like the true price of Tesla is not the actual true price, if that makes sense, because we've had like two or three stock splits in between. So for every one stock I would have, they would some of them, it depends. Some of them be like 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 10. But I can't remember how many they've done. But a stock split is nothing more than an opportunity to gain new investors so they can get new money going up, if that makes sense. And keep in mind too, people are born every single day. People are graduating high school every single day. So people need, Tesla can't just be at, I mean, it could. It can't just be at $3,000 without a split, because a lot of investors are not going to be able to buy just one whole share of Tesla. Like in the crypto market, we can buy partials. They can't do that in the stock market, so they have no choice but to split the stock. So even looking at this chart real time, I haven't touched it in a few years. I forgot about it, honestly. We're still making higher highs and higher lows. Break of an ascending flag, the market come down, but still it's like lower lows and lower highs in a downtrend. Anticipate a low going up. Every single low, uptrend or downtrend, is going to give you a reason to buy, just like it did here, just like it did here, just like it did here, and then take off. And then first high, second high, third high, every single high getting lower, come down. I want a reason to buy, low, anticipation, impulse to the upside, retest to the downside, consolidation. Consolidation breaks in the direction of trend. Trend is uptrend. We shouldn't be buying high anyway. We need to buy low. So I shouldn't be enticed over here, which back in the day, I used to get enticed right here. Shit, y'all seen up until like, what was it, that Pepe trade? I've learned my lesson. I'm not stacking this no more. So since I know that I learned from my mistakes, I know I'm not stacking the impulses anymore. I understand that I'm actually patient now and waiting on the market to come down and take off. Every single low is going to give you a reason to take off. The dollar is always getting printed. We're always in a war. Anything is needed. Government assistance. We always need government assistance and stuff like that. Food stamps. The money got to come from somewhere. And it's like the other countries, it's like, I'm not into like that side of things, but it's like there's only so much people can help, just like in real life. So real life is just like, for us, it's like bigger countries there. So it's like Europe not gonna always try to bail us out, so we got to be able to bail ourselves out. If that makes sense. So being able to bail ourselves out, what the government does, they bail themselves out. They bail out the companies that's about to go bankrupt. Is they have to print more money. So then printing more money means the business owners, and that's where the tax write-off is. They get their tax breaks and stuff by hiring people and adding jobs and paying people to work, because the government can't always do that. So it's almost like the business owners are a piece of the government. So when I invest in Tesla, if that makes sense, let me know if I'm talking too fast. If I want to make sure it sticks, because I've been doing it for a while, but it's like we're helping the government out by keeping track of this section of the world, if that makes sense. Just like me spiritually, I'm helping, say, God out by keeping track of this section of the world, because I know where I can help and I know where I can't help. I haven't actively been trading options in a long time, but it's not necessary, because Forex and crypto do the exact same thing as the stock market at the exact same time, except options traders, they market closes. Our market doesn't close. But them being able to have new investors in their market will naturally push Forex and crypto and futures, also because we're all trading the same NASDAQ. We're all trading the same SPX 500. We're all trading the same US 30. We're all trading the same Tesla. There's only one Tesla. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That is crazy. I can't believe they got rid of that. But that's what I'm saying. At the drop of a dime, they could just poof, that rule's not there anymore. So imagine how many people have been following that rule all along. And now it's just like, okay, so did that not matter to me, if that makes sense? Because it's kind of like the Forex market of we're using offshore unregulated brokers, but if the brokers on the US side that offer Forex and crypto gave us more leverage to play with, then of course we will be playing over here. And that's a way for them, I guess, to kind of get more money in their system, but it still goes back to higher highs and higher lows. So people can't keep their mind straight on that aspect no matter what is going on in the world, because fundamentals matter. Just because I need gas